And number 7 from the Chapter 6 homework. This question reads that a bond has a 7% coupon rate, a face value of $1,000, semi-annual payments, and sells at par. The current yield is blank percent, and the effective annual yield is blank percent. And so we've got to make 2 calculations with this problem. Now, the first thing the problem asks for is current yield. Okay? Yet another piece of vocabulary with a bond that seems like it's just out there to confuse us. But these terms have been around for so long and just continue to be used in the bond market. Okay? The current yield is a completely different animal than yield to maturity, although the two sound very similar. Okay? The current yield is defined as the annual coupon payment divided by the bond's current price. Okay? So those are the two current links you can have there. To kind of remind you what current yield is. We're going to take that coupon payment divided by the current price. Okay, with this bond, we only have to make one calculation for this because we've got the 7% coupon rate. We're going to multiply that times 1,000 to find our annual coupon payment. That's the numerator up here. The current price, so we had to calculate that, but the current price normally we'd have to calculate, but what the problem tells us is the bond sells at par. Remember we called the face value either face value or par value? Well, if a bond sells at par, that means it's selling for face value or it's selling for $1,000. And so we don't even have to calculate there. If it's selling for par, that means the current price is $1,000. So the current yield is a simple calculation. We take that annual coupon payment of $70 divided by 1,000, and it's 0.07 or 7% in percentage terms. So that's our current yield. Now, for the effective annual yield, bonds are always quoted in terms of APR. So the yield to maturity is always APR. So again, with this one, we would normally have to calculate APR. We'd have to solve for I over Y if it wasn't given to us as yield to maturity. But for this bond, it's selling for par. When a bond sells for par, it turns out that its coupon rate and yield to maturity are exactly the same thing. Okay, so whatever the coupon rate is for the bond is its yield to maturity. That's the only time that that'll be true. Okay? And so to calculate the effective annual yield, that's nothing more than the effective annual rate that we used in Chapter 5. It's the exact same formula. Here we just take 1 plus the quoted rate, or the APR, divided by the number of compounding periods, which is M here, raised to the number of compounding periods, the M up here, and then minus 1. And here you can see, in this case, APR equals the coupon rate because the bond sells at par. Now, that's the only time that's going to be true. If the bond was selling for something other than par, you'd either have to be given a yield to maturity or you'd have to calculate it. Okay, but here, since it's selling for par, we can just plug in our coupon payment. Okay, so the effective annual yield, we just dump into our effective annual rate formula here. It's 1 plus 0.07, which is our yield to maturity, divided by 2 because we have 2 compounding periods per year. Right, it's semi-annual couponing for all bonds. So we divide that by 2 and then also raise it to the 2. And then minus 1. So we find the effective annual yield is 0.0712 or 7.12%.